people walking corners, we don't stop it, but we play it safe. Please put the gun away. I remember summer days, I remember better days, I remember when the gray skies never wanna fade away. When your friends look at you and don't remember your name, I got a spinning problem, I just go and buy a new brains, and I just got a brand new lease from my range, and I might just pull up real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, that's selfish. I didn't mean to call it that. It's like it made no sense to me.
Sometimes I just feel like they gon' kill me like I'm Kennedy. And I quit all the bad drinks and smoking drinks and menacing. If you got a problem, you can drop it. It's my industry. I'm going super crazy. I just hope you feel my energy. And if I die next week, I really hope that you remember me.
Tattoos on my face, I had to make them my identity.
Living in the moment, I ain't never going back. I told my family I will make it, please just relax. If this ain't an indicator that I'm moving fast, I'm climbing to the top and I ain't never looking past. New day, let's just run away. 2020 ain't the same. People walking coffins, we don't stop it, but we play it safe. Please put the gun away. I remember
Summer days, I remember
better days.
I remember
Bitch just wanna brag and my whip goes super fast.
I could never lie to you, cause you're my angel in the skies. When I look up in the sky, it reminds me of the hot when the lows kick in. Yeah, I just really wanna die. But every dark is just alright. Even if I get my mind, it's looking like it's out of sight. It's looking like it's looking like
but every dark has its own right. And even if I gave my mic,
it's looking like it's out of sight. It's looking like
living in the moment, I ain't never going back. I told my family I will make it, please just relax. And if this ain't an indicator that I'm moving fast, I'm climbing to the top and I ain't never looking back. It's a new day, let's just run away. 2020 ain't the same. People walking coffins, we don't stop it, but we play it safe. Please just put the gun away. I remember summer days, I remember better days, I remember.
I like smoke, I'm a yo, you don't want no smoke. Bro, swerving to the afterlife with no love, I know. I just might levitate, fuck on this succubus. I just might serenade. I don't be fucking with demons, and I'm coming at the flame in the game with the blue and the flame and the feeling is safe. Read up on my chest like full fire. Hit him with a drum, don't jump no run. Got single camera, bitch, I don't play around. Get him, my voice gonna step on my way. You don't talk to yourself like what? What's the matter, Jack? Why don't taste blood? I don't wanna talk no more, say no. I'm saying no. I posted the eating, I got a scope in the aim with your chain be. Post up the toast in your post with your baby. Your cover the evidence, nobody blame me. How the shawty if she wanna tell me they all on my dick like they all want my babies. I'm leaving to die and they all wanna see me. I'm moving alone, I'm a ghost as a lady. Trapping the top, I pull up in Mercedes. I'm posting the clock and I'm shooting a line. Shoot at the eyes, I've been acting like Hades. If you want a feature, you pay me a line. Honor on me and I lit like a night. Shawty suck on my dick every night. I am a bully, my eye on the prize, and I beat her the pussy. I'm taking his life, yeah.
40K with you, I run the block in the city, 40 bands with me. Mama can't kill me, get my hands ready. Put your names down, do the static steady, and I bring that cash out.
40K with you, I run the block in the city, 40 bands with me. You come up, can't give me, keep my hands ready. Cause your man's down, double stack steady, and I bring that cash out.
I just might levitate, fuck on this succubus. I just might serenade. I don't be fucking with demons, and I'm coming at the flame in the game with the blue and the flame and the flame.
Tell the feeling like I'm trapped in my damn mind. Tell the feeling like I'm rapping a damn lie. Tell the feeling like my life is a damn game. Nigga really wanna die in the nighttime. Only time I feel pain when I'm feeling love. That's why I said it on my face that I'm damn numb. Only time you come on my mind when I'm all alone. That's why I'm never really alone in the nighttime. Change hoes like clothes, I can get attached. Cause these hoes five stars like lit matches. I've been feeling really lost, looking all attachments. I don't really go outside cause I hate traffic. I don't wanna go outside, get caught in traffic. Tell the feeling like I'm trapped in my damn mind. Tell the feeling like I'm rapping a damn lie. Tell the feeling like my life is a damn game. Nigga really wanna die in the nighttime. Tell the feeling like I'm trapped in my damn mind. Tell the feeling like I'm rapping a damn lie. Tell the feeling like my life is a damn game. Nigga really wanna die in the nighttime. Tell the feeling like I'm trapped in my damn mind. Tell the feeling like I'm rapping a damn lie. Tell the feeling like my life is a damn game. Nigga really wanna die in the nighttime. 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 Nigga really wanna die in the nighttime.
I'm slowly losing my mind. See red eyes, all of these bitches evil, yeah, yeah. You twist your tongue, twist my mind, that's lethal, yeah, yeah. Now part 2, taking you out the sequel, yeah, yeah. Before I leave, I'ma get revenge, that's evil, yeah, yeah. I'ma save you the heartache, it's time that we part ways. Not here for the long wait, think my time's a short stay. You're the half of me, it's sad to see that everybody at me, and it's sad to see now just go up at me, it's cat me, like I need, right at the whole ones, I'm gonna hold one, check my pulse, I can't tell, all I know is from my soul, just hear my ears, go right in hell, get there. So hey, just come back, shit, so what you expect to get my age, we can't hide, we stop it. You think that I won't? I'll take the front, I got no fucking patience, yeah, yeah. She up in my throat, man, it don't expectation, yeah, yeah. You're nothing to grow when you got no foundation, yeah, yeah. Signal that smoke, altercation, yeah, yeah. I'm sick of the fun, I got no fucking patience, yeah, yeah. She up in my throat, man, it don't Switch. What was I? I thought I had it ready. I lost it. I was ready before, and now I'm not ready. I'm so stupid. Oh, here it is. Do it on my own, so I gotta keep doing. There we go. Nice and quiet. Okay. We don't want it too loud. We just want it nice and quiet. Blah, that's fine. Okay. Oh, it is working. I didn't think it was. Okay, cool. I didn't think the Opera GX display was working, but it is. We all good. I say, then I turn it off and it disappears forever. Awesome. Ah! It's my only medicine, yeah. Everything I do, I'm just being genuine, yeah. I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline, yeah. If this is what I do, and I hope you'll let me in, yeah. That's really irritating. I literally just ruined it. It was working, and then it wasn't working. Okay then. Awesome. In that case, we're gonna have to use the monitor display. That's the wrong monitor. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, today we're gonna be we're gonna be watching To Catch a Predator. Pretty relevant, I feel, because if for anyone who's not aware, recently there's been the whole case with EDP, Gideon going on, being caught again, and I don't know if that video is out or not, but there was a lot of people going crazy over it, so there's that whole situation going on again, so I just thought, hey, it's a good time to do this, and I've seen a few videos, I've seen some like reaction videos to them, but I don't think I've ever actually watched them, so let's go through and see how it is. Yeah, let's see what Chris and the Hansons can do. I don't know why I said Chris and the Hansons. It's just Chris Hansen that I assume he's not doing with his family. Okay. Update now. Go away, you stupid Hannah. There we go. I'm going to win, yeah. Okay. Oh, that's that. Oh shit, that's not playing. Let's try that again.
And now, Dangerous Web. Here is Stone Phillips.
Good evening. Don't talk to strangers. It's a basic rule of safety every parent tells their child.
Let's go up.
But if there's a computer in your home, it's possible that your children
Blah.
have been talking to
Let's go up.
strangers.
Blah.
Tonight we're going to show you just how dangerous it can be to let your child surf the web alone, and how quickly a stranger, maybe a sexual predator.
Okay, that's probably fine.
And now, Dangerous Web. Here is Stone Phillips.
Good evening. Don't talk to strangers. It's a basic rule of safety every parent tells their child. But if there's a computer in your home, it's possible that your children have been talking to strangers. Tonight we're going to show you just how dangerous it can be to let your child surf the web.
I'm going to turn the captions off. I just find them irritating for this.
And now,
It's already like
Dangerous
square
Web.
aspect ratio.
Here is Stone Phillips.
Good evening. Don't talk to strangers. It's a basic rule of safety every parent tells their child. But if there's a computer in your home, it's possible that your children have been talking to strangers. Tonight we're going to show you just how dangerous it can be to let your child surf the web alone, and how quickly a stranger, maybe a sexual predator, can go from chatting with your teen in cyberspace.
It's so stupid. Wait, no, I think this is still quite. Let's turn this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's probably a better balancing. Back to the start.
And now,
no more adjusting.
Dangerous Web. Here is
Dangerous Web.
Stone Phillips.
Dateline.
Good
Stone
evening.
Phillips.
Don't
Wait,
talk to
where's
strangers.
Chris?
It's a basic rule of safety every parent tells their child. But if there's a computer in your home, it's possible that your children have been talking to strangers. Tonight we're going to show you just how dangerous it can be to let your child surf the web alone, and how quickly a stranger, maybe a sexual predator, can go from chatting with your teen in cyberspace to knocking on your front door.
Where's this from, by
How
the way?
easily-
I mean, it probably won't say, will it? No. Better call Saul. It doesn't say.
Can it happen? We found out in a Dateline hidden camera investigation. We want to warn you, some of what you're about to see and hear tonight is explicit.
Yeah.
Here's Chris Hansen.
These are potentially sensitive themes and content.
This is a house on an average street in an average town. It could be your town, but there's something very different about this place.
The back door's unlocked.
a major crime against a child is possibly being committed here. A crime that happens more often than you'd ever imagine. This grown man is here after making a date for sex with a 14-year-old girl he met only hours earlier on the internet.
Just come on in, I'm finishing getting ready, okay?
Tonight,
really tell
a
how old this
Dateline
is,
hidden
can't you?
camera investigation exposes a very real threat to your children. Online sexual predators. You'll see firsthand how they find victims and seduce them. And you'll be watching as they take the next step and show up at a home where they think a minor is alone. The problem, as you'll see in our investigation, is epidemic. Just ask a group of middle school kids.
They don't have a group
Has
of
anyone
kids
here
here.
been approached by a stranger in a chat room? These kids, ranging in age from 11 to 14, say it happens all the time.
It's just disgusting stuff that they send to me just to try to get me into looking at disgusting websites.
And many parents aren't as computer savvy as their children, making it tougher to protect kids from internet predators.
The combination of their social naivete and our computer naivete is a dangerous combination.
That's a very good point right there. Oh, thank you for the follow. That's an insanely good follow right. That's an insanely good point they made right there. You know, you've constantly got this thing of like the older generations not knowing how to like use computers, like, you know, grandparents having problems with just, you know, their phones. How do I do this? How do I do that? Always asking for help. Parents, you know, they'll only stick to like one brand of phone because they can use it fine, but they're kind of like scared to learn anything else. They don't want to stray away. But then the kids, you know, very quickly pick up and explore and learn how to use these things a lot more than these older generations. The problem being, these kids are a lot more naive socially. They don't understand what's like dangerous, what's going on. So that's a really disconnected kind of thing that is very real even now. And this show is, I don't even know how old. I mean, you could see it's a square freaking aspect ratio. Resolution's horrible. Probably not quite as bad on stream because it's shrunk. You know, you can see from like the wallpapers in the houses, they freaking used Yahoo on this fucking monitor. Like, you can see it's fucking old, but it's all very relevant still. Like, this is very real. I mean, like this disconnect between the different ages. You've got like these adults who don't know how to use computers or won't learn, and then you've got these kids who are able to use these computers sometimes too much that it becomes dangerous, and then, you know, they don't like share those skills. There's no crossover. It's just like parents, you know, they have the social skills, kids have the technological skills. It's not like they're on the internet together, because that's, you know, you don't go on the internet with your parents. That's weird. You wouldn't sit down and look at chat rooms. Like, that's not something you would do. You wouldn't go scrolling through Reddit with your family. Like, that would give you the skills you would need to stay safe and to navigate properly at the same time. But that's not something that people do. And so these kids don't have the skills to protect themselves. Meanwhile, these parents don't understand the dangers that their kids are getting into, but they know how to protect them if they do come up. The problem is, they don't know if they're going to come up because they have no clue how they can come up. They know how to protect against it. They don't know how it appears in the first place. And that's a big issue.
1 in 5 children online in this country has been approached by adults looking for sex, according to a study funded by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That large number doesn't surprise former FBI profiler and leading child sex crimes expert Ken Lanning.
There seems to be a bottomless barrel of cases. You go out there, and no matter what you do, there just seems to be more and more of these individuals.
Internet predators are very good at convincing you that they're your friend.
Shelley Riling of Danbury, Connecticut had no idea about the danger lurking online for her 13-year-old niece, Chrissy, an honor student, altar girl, and co-captain of her cheerleading team.
Hello.
In May 2002, Chrissy told her aunt she was going to the mall to meet a friend. Instead, she met up with a stranger she'd met online, a 24-year-old married man named Saul Dos Reis. Prosecutors charge he took her for a ride in his car, sexually abused her, and then strangled her. Dos Reis was convicted of first-degree manslaughter.
When I opened up the door and I saw the minister, I knew. And I looked for Chrissy and she wasn't there, and I knew they were going to tell me that she had been killed.
How do sexual predators find children like Chrissy on the internet?
Let me take a look at this trumpet. It better be a trumpet. That's not a trumpet. Okay then.
Internet. By going to a chat room like this one, scanning the profiles looking for a victim. Then they'll instant message that child. Very often they'll get a message back. Usually the chats start off friendly. Later they'll get sexual. And finally the predator will try to convince a child to meet in person.
Teenagers are rebellious. Teenagers are curious. Teenagers can have a strong interest in sex and all these characteristics. And so what many of these offenders are taking advantage of are these characteristics of teenagers.
Laws differ from state to state, but generally it's against the law to use the internet to entice a minor to engage in sexual activity.
It's generally illegal? Right. Did he not just say in states?
Are taking advantage of are these characteristics of teenagers.
Laws differ from state to state, but generally it's against the law to use the internet to entice a minor to engage in sexual activity.
I don't know when was this made? It was made in... Doesn't say that. 2004? Really? Shit. I thought this was like 1990s or something. Oh my god, okay. Damn. That's crazy. In 2004, not all states. Surely it was illegal in all states for you to use a computer to get a minor to do that kind of stuff. That's fucked up. That's genuinely fucked up. I fucking hope that's changed now. I hope they've sorted that out and now everywhere is like that, because that's insane. Like, I mean, that is fucked up. That's, in the UK, you know, that would be Computer Misuse Act instantly. You know, it's like any crime where you involve a computer, if the computer is used to help with the crime, boom, you've broken the Computer Misuse Act. That's one law broken. So you break any law using a computer, you've broken a second law just for using the computer with it. Simple as that. So, you know, for that not to be illegal in the US in some states sounds absolutely insane. In 2004? Like, I mean, that's quite a while ago, but it's not massively long ago. I mean, I was alive in 2004. Barely, but I was. Like, that just seems insane. That's genuinely nuts.
It's also illegal to transmit obscene matter to a person under 16.
The fact that you use something like a computer and the internet, and that technology crosses state lines, that can also make it a federal violation.
Law enforcement agencies like the FBI and U.S. Customs have made catching internet predators a high priority, but they say the problem is just too big.
Yeah, that message right there says 2004.
Enter a group called Perverted Justice, a kind of online vigilante organization whose mission is to do what it believes law enforcement doesn't always have the resources to do: make a full-time job of going after internet predators. And they do it by posing as kids online.
This is what a 13-year-old girl looks like at Perverted Justice.
At any given moment, one of Perverted Justice's 25 volunteers, some who say they were victims themselves of sexual abuse, troll internet chat rooms, usually through AOL and Yahoo, waiting to be approached by a predator.
Are these chat rooms really that creepy?
Oh, they're just loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, half the times we have to close down some of the windows. There's so many guys hitting on us that'll crash our machines.
While Perverted Justice has no authority to arrest the potential predators it identifies, it sometimes aids in the criminal prosecution of those men. But many in law enforcement strongly oppose any civilian group conducting sting operations. Nevertheless, Perverted Justice exposes these individuals by posting their picture, phone number, and a copy of their sexual chat on its website. As a result, the men's family, neighbors, and employers are often notified by website visitors. Why?
Okay, that's probably considered being a vigilante, because that's like sharing their information, which in itself is, I don't know about in the US, but in the UK, that giving away that information on the internet would be illegal. That's, yeah, that would be considered vigilantism. I don't know what I was gonna say. It's just nuts. Like, I get that the FBI and like the police don't want them to do that, because there are like processes you're supposed to follow, and with this kind of thing, it's like, there you go, they're basically being vigilantes, sharing these people's personal information, their addresses, phone numbers, pictures, whatever, on the internet, and that's very dangerous. Like, they could get murdered for that. I mean, some people say that's what these people deserve, but if you're not like a professional, not following any proper practices, what's to say they don't put some random person's picture on that website? Say someone screws them over somehow or pisses them off. Boom. Put their name, their photo, put a fake chat log up there, make it look really bad. Someone's gonna get angry enough that they might act on that. They might act out for it. I can see where the issue comes from with that. However, the idea that the police don't support it, they should be kind of taking in the evidence. They should have like some sort of way to work with these people, rather than just being like, no, we can't do that. Like, I watched a video from Skeet Hansen earlier, and it was like, which is based off of this, and he basically, you know, he had all this evidence. He met up with the guy at a Walmart or a Target, and the guy said he was going to like 3 or 4 of the Walmarts in the area until he could find the specific Crocs he was looking for. And it's like, then how do we know you were going to be here at this exact place, exact time? And how could this not have been you? And there were so many holes in the guy's story. They had the chat logs printed out on sheets of paper. They hand it over to the police. They tell the police what's gone on, how, you know, they knew exactly where to find him, and how they did it. And the police just said, okay, you're not under arrest right now, you're free to leave. And just took the chat logs and walked up, and the guy was free to just leave. They weren't like, you know, oh, you can leave the building, then as soon as they leave the building, they go arrest them. He was just free to leave. You know, I feel like if you're giving someone that much evidence and saying, look, we've got all this evidence, we know all this stuff, here's the evidence, you should be acting on that and just saying, okay, we're just going to detain you for a while, take you with us, get a look at this quickly, you know, rather than be like, oh no, you're free to go, yeah, you can just walk off, what does it matter? And just letting them roam free, go do whatever they want, potentially meet up with someone else during that time. I mean, it's unlikely, but it could happen. It's quite dangerous. Realistically, they should be you know, doing something. But like they said, the police just don't encourage it. What did I get? This is a real trumpet. Look at that, a real trumpet. That's an improvement. We love trumpets. I don't actually love trumpets. They're kind of sucky instruments.
Why is this not entrapment?
They blow.
Well, it's not entrapment. First of all, we're not a legal entity. Secondly, we're sitting in a chat room. We're not starting anything. They're having a conversation with us of their own free will.
Then, perverted justice volunteers will often engage in sexually explicit chats, coming on to a would-be predator to see if he'll take the bait.
If you don't trust me, that's cool.
It's one thing to chat online.
Was she just gaslighting a predator? Did she just say, if you don't trust me, that's cool? She's literally gaslighting a predator. I love that. We've got keyboard warriors gaslighting predators. This is such a weird idea. It's like this weird messed up fantasy war between two kinds of fucked up nerds. Except one side of the fucked up nerds are like fighting for justice and they're vigilantes, like shitty Batmans, and then the other half are like predators trying to do shit with kids. Like, obviously I'm rooting for their nerdy fucking keyboard warriors, but they're kinda like two sides of the same coin. They're both like nerdy, like, you know, stay in the basement kind of people. They've just got very, very opposing views when it comes to this one subject.
The danger is far greater when it becomes person to person. So how many of these internet stalkers would actually make a date and show up to have sex with a teen? In other words, commit statutory rape. We decided to find out. More than a few sexual predators believe there's a minor waiting alone in this house, but they're in for a big surprise. We've got our hidden cameras rolling, so stick around and wait to see who knocks on our door.
It's the pizza guy. I got the pizza, I got the goods. It's not the pizza guy. I wish it was the pizza guy. I thought he said Dateline NBC. It says Dateline Netcrime.
Oh, looks like we got another one.
To follow the trail of an internet predator prowling for children, from seduction in a chat room to a face-to-face meeting, you need three things. A realistic setting, someone proficient in the teen speak of the internet, and a way.
Someone proficient in the teen speak of the internet.
Someone proficient.
They've got a dictionary. Does that say talk to you later, TTYL? I don't know what half of these things mean. What the fuck do these even mean? They've got... Oh my god, they've got a dictionary written up of... Surely if you don't get what they're saying, you would just go, oh, what does that mean? You know, that would seem more realistic than knowing all of these different things.
In the teen speak of the internet, and a way to record it all.
This is real time.
This is real time. This is happening right now.
Save as.
We rented this house in a middle-class neighborhood on a main street far from any school.
I didn't hear that right, did I?
Efficient in the teen speak of the internet, and a way to record it all.
This is real time.
This is real time. This is happening right now.
Save as.
We rent.
Wait. No way.
This is real time. This is happening right now.
Save as.
We rent.
Bro. I thought these were like fucking keyboard warrior nerds. These guys are doing this for a job, right? He just went, save as. It's like he's like a 5-year-old in school on the laptops, where everyone's got their laptops and they've got like the weird little rubber thing in the middle. You know that circle rubber thing in the middle that when you move it, it moves the cursor, and it's so fast. It's like he's got one of those, and one of those little laptops, and he's in his 5-year-old primary school class, and he's going. He's using Microsoft Word for the first time. He's going A B C D E underline bold enter space bar finger space finger space finger space save as file, save as, and then I type in the name, and then I click save. It's like, this guy is meant to be knowledgeable. He's meant to be doing this thing, and then he goes, save as. Like, is he showing them the process or something? Because they were talking. They were discussing it. So it's not like he was showing them how to do it step by step. Is it? It seems like they were just having a conversation about it, and then he just randomly starts reminding himself how to save a file during it.
This is real time. This is happening right now.
It's not.
We
Save
rented
as.
this house in a middle-class neighborhood on a main street far from any school. Our technicians rigged the house with hidden cameras inside and out.
I bet that's him.
And we enlisted the help of volunteers from Perverted Justice, who make it their mission to expose some of the estimated 50,000 predators nationwide said to be trolling the internet at any given time. Volunteers like 21-year-old Dell.
Protecting little children from people who would destroy their lives. It's just such a worthy cause.
Dell and other volunteers like 38-year-old Frag, or using their undercover names, go online, posing as 12, 13, or 14-year-olds, using a picture that is unmistakably underage. Some volunteers pretend to be girls and some boys. Either way, they never make the first contact. Instead, they wait to be seduced.
Now, how explicit do you have to be to lure these guys in?
I'm curious where they got these images from. Who... Are these actual children? Or... Oh, that's lovely. That's a great time to pause. Like, did they take pictures of genuine children? Because that's kind of creepy, if they did. I don't know. Hopefully not.
Well, we don't really have to lure them. They'll come to us. We go into these chat rooms. I haven't said a word to anybody. I'm sitting in the room, and the IMs start popping up, and they start coming on.
Sure enough, in a matter of minutes, the online chat becomes sexually explicit. This man, screen name Ed in NYC, thinking he's talking to a 13-year-old, says, "You feeling horny right now?" Another, Me for Magic NY, asks, "Are you a virgin?" The girl says, "Yeah." And then this 33-year-old proceeds to turn on his webcam, expose himself, then masturbate in front of a girl he believes is 13. Right then and there, this man may have committed a federal crime by using the internet to transmit obscene matter to a person he believed to be underage.
Yeah, that's just fucked. That's just genuinely I don't even know what to say about that. Like, I mean, you get people who do that over Omegle probably, don't you? Like, that's essentially what this is just, describe. It's disgusting. It's genuinely disgusting. I don't get it. It's fucked.
Other predators send pictures of themselves, then give their phone number, hoping for a call.
Hey, is this John? Hey, it's Mandy.
Dell, now posing as a 13-year-old girl, does exactly that. She tells the predator her parents aren't home, and that it'd be okay for him to come to her house.
I was just making sure you were for real because I wanted to know you really wanted this.
There would be dozens of sexually graphic online chats intended for children. Chats so disgusting we can't even begin to show you. There would also be picture exchanges and phone calls. But how many of these men would be willing to make a date and then be bold enough to walk in the door? We didn't have to wait long to find out, and we caught it all on our hidden cameras. Meet 35-year-old Steve, known on the internet as SR8219. He's a married man with children.
Hold up. This guy is a fucking SCP. What
All
the
on our
heck?
hidden cameras. Meet 35-year-old Steve, known on the internet as SR8219.
He's a fucking test subject. What the heck? Is he like the first guy to show up as well? And he's like an SCP test subject? That fucking checks out, to be fair, but that's nuts. That's insane.
9. He's a married man with children.
Just come on in and sit at the counter. I gotta finish getting dressed.
Dell, posing as a 14-year-old, invites him in. And even though there really isn't a 14-year-old in the house, this man still may be committing a crime, according to sex crimes expert Ken Lanning.
The federal law makes it pretty clear there doesn't have to be an actual child there.
And as far as Steve is concerned, there's a real 14-year-old in this house.
Just sit at the counter. I'll be right down, okay?
As for why he's here, after we read you part of his online chat, it will be pretty clear.
You on the pill?
No. You wear condoms?
If you want me to, but I'm sterile.
Okay, then you don't have to wear a condom if you don't want to.
But before we have sex, I want you to make me.
He then assaulted.
Okay. So, neither one of them is on any form of birth control, and he's just said he doesn't need to rap. So not only is he gonna show up and do that with family, with kids, he's gonna risk getting this girl pregnant, which realistically, you know, she can't raise a child. What's he gonna do to explain all of that? He's definitely got to go to prison if she has a child. Also, you know, if she is a teenager, what's to say she survives having a child? Because that's a very realistic, like, situation. She might not survive carrying a child. So, yeah, this guy's fucked.
Assaults the girl with chat about oral and anal sex, and even asks a series of deeply personal questions like, when do you get your period? And another offensive question about her personal hygiene. Law enforcement has a...
That's just not a conversation you should have with a child ever. Never on the internet ever discuss genitalia or sexual topics with a child. Unless it's like in a purely scientific manner and they're asking. Don't introduce children to these topics yourself, because that's not your place to do so. And don't it's just so gross that someone would think it's okay to have that, like, it's fucked. Like, obviously, if someone's just like, someone's knowledgeable about a subject and, you know, they're asking for advice because they're not knowledgeable, they're not as knowledgeable as you, then fair enough. But if they have no clue what something is and then you start discussing it with them, you've crossed a line. That's not appropriate. You should not be introducing them to that. Like, if, you know, someone's curious about something and it's something that will affect them and, you know, you can help to educate them on it, fair enough. If they want to be educated on it, don't go out of your way talking about these things to children. And definitely don't talk about these things out of an educational context. If you're talking about these things with a minor in a fucking, like, oh, wouldn't it be fun? Oh, like, oh, when do you get your period? Oh, I need to know. Like, that's fucked. Like, he's just asking out of curiosity. Because he finds it, for some reason, interesting or amusing. I don't know. Like, that's not okay. That's just clear cut, not okay. It's just basic logic.
Name for this kind of guy, a potentially dangerous predator who goes from a chat room to a real-life meeting intent on an encounter with a child.
Just to expand on that point, I don't subscribe to the idea that we shouldn't be interacting with children on the internet, okay? Children on the internet happens, okay? There are minors on the internet. I'm sure many of you, you know, have played games when you were minors, or are minors and have played video games, or been on YouTube, or Spotify, or Reddit, or whatever, Discord, I don't fucking care. So many places where kids are on the internet, you just can't avoid them. Maybe rather than being like, no, we shouldn't be doing anything with children, we should be avoiding them at all costs, because it's just not realistic. Maybe we should just be like, okay, this is how you should appropriately approach a child. You know, don't look for children, obviously, but if you come across a child on the internet, don't fucking act like a fucking idiot. It's that easy. It's that fucking easy. If you met a child in real life, you wouldn't go, oh, I gotta avoid them, gotta avoid them at all costs, you know? Like, what's that about? Like, your friend has a kid, you don't suddenly go, I don't want to get in trouble, I gotta stay away from that kid. That looks more suspicious than talking to the kid and hanging out with the kid, you know, playing with them, playing like Uno or something, making a few jokes. Just treat them like a normal fucking human being, and they'll be fine. Don't fucking ignore them and fucking... Because also, if you do ignore them, that's gonna like make them feel like no one cares about them, because everyone just finds them annoying as hell. Then when someone who is a predator talks to them, and they're being overly kind and overly like, oh, I'm really interested in you, they're gonna quickly get attached to that person, and it's not good. You can't just avoid children on the internet. It's not realistic, and there's no real reason to do it. There's no real reason to do it. Unless you somehow don't trust yourself enough to be around kids in the real world. You know, if you don't trust yourself to be around kids in the real world, fair enough. Don't trust yourself to be around kids online. But if you think it's okay to talk to kids in the real world, who are like your friend's kids, or your niece, or your nephew, or whatever, as long as you're not like a creepy uncle kind of thing, why are you not talking to them online? Like, what do you think's gonna happen that's different? It's the exact same situation. Just don't be stupid, and don't be inappropriate. It's that fucking easy. They're normal fucking people. They just don't know as much as you, so just treat them like a human. But just be aware that you're not supposed to bring up certain topics. It's not that fucking hard.
They're called travelers.
He starts to communicate online, and then he is going to travel to where the child is, or he's going to try to get the child to travel to where he is, also they can engage in actual sexual activity with the child.
But today, Steve won't have a chance for sex with a 14-year-old. Instead, he'll be meeting me. He seems to think I'm a police officer. I haven't told him yet I'm a television reporter, and at this point, he has no idea he's being videotaped.
I knew. You knew what? Exactly what was going on.
Just take your hands out of your pockets for me. No, you don't. Put them up.
Okay, no problem.
He seemed so excited to lift his hands up for that. That was so weird. What the heck? He sat down instantly, and then when he said, "Put your hands out for me," he raised them so quickly and so high. Oh my god. That's so strange. The fact that he thinks he's a police officer, I mean, obviously that's gonna help him, but also, you know, not great. It's kind of misleading, but whatever.
I knew what was going on. I'm not stupid.
It's pretty clear that Steve thinks he was caught up in a police sting. He says he was just coming over to check it out.
So you were obviously suspicious in the beginning.
Of course I am. I'm always suspicious.
Always? Do you do this a lot?
No, this is the first time I've actually
I'm always suspicious. This is the first time I've done it. What?
did show up to see what was going on.
And you expect me to believe that?
Yes, I do.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
And how would you feel if one of your children was 13 or 14 years old, that child was home alone, chatting with somebody on the internet who ultimately came over with no parent at home? How would you feel about that as a parent?
I'd be pretty pissed off.
Right. You'll hear more from Steve later. Right now, there's another man walking down our driveway. He's the one who turned on his webcam to put on a little sex show.
Oh,
now he's in our kitchen. He's 33-year-old Musti, Me for Magic, New York, and he's expecting to hook up with a 13-year-old virgin.
Just sit down at the counter for a minute and I'll be down in a second.
Just hours earlier, after exposing himself online, he tells the girl he wants oral sex before he takes her virginity. And if that's not disgusting enough, he continues to titillate himself by asking intimate questions, like the...
What the fuck does that word even mean? Titillate? Is that what he said? Titillate? Is that a word? stimulate. He stimulates himself by asking her weird
The
questions.
size of her
Okay.
breasts and other questions too disturbing for us to mention.
So you talk this way to all your friends on the internet?
Yes.
Click the button.
About all these sex acts and in this
Yes,
graphic way?
and everybody talking like that, and they have a web site in over there too.
So this is just a game to you?
Yes, it's a just game.
But is it a game when you send an obscene video?
Now it sounds like you exposed yourself on a webcam.
But I'm telling you,
Did you or did you not?
I have a webcam too, and the other people have a webcam too, and we're playing.
You're playing?
We see each other and we're playing.
Yeah. What game were you playing on the webcam?
It's up to you. I don't know.
Our undercover operation.
Wait, so he's just describing the software. he's just describing the software. That's just... Oh. I don't understand this show. Like... You know you're not supposed to talk to the police. Why would you talk to him? Especially if you think he is police. Like, it's nuts.
Has only been up and running for 2 hours, and already 2 men who chatted graphically about sex online and then made a date have come into the house looking for a young girl home alone. Watch our hidden cameras. You're about to see a lot more. This 30-year-old man, screen name Dark Hero, showed up expecting a date with a
I don't think he's gonna be a hero. I don't trust that.
13-year-old girl. It turns out he has a history of mental illness with possible suicidal tendencies. So we've disguised his identity but included him in our report to...
Okay, that's fair. That's the responsible thing to do. However, if you know this guy, you can definitely identify him from this picture. Just saying.
Illustrate how there's no telling what kind of unstable character might show up for a meeting with a minor. Listen as we read a little of what he said online to her just hours earlier.
I want to be your master so badly.
I only been with one.
He's the fucking original Discord mod. I hate that so much. That's so gross. But, yeah, the whole thing with like, oh, we've disguised his identity. You can see he's got a beard, you can see his mouth, you could see his hairstyle pretty clearly earlier. He's wearing this leather jacket he was wearing before, you could see what trousers he wore. You could definitely figure out who this guy is if you knew him. If you knew him, you would know it was him. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Guy.
That's okay. I'll tell you exactly what to do. You'll be fine. Are you gonna pose nude for me, sweetheart?
Maybe if you're really good.
Just sit down at the counter. I want to finish getting dressed, okay?
Sit down where?
At the counter?
Okay, where the light is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But instead of me...
Sit down at the counter where the light is. Yeah. I love that. I love that. He's like, do you want me to sit where the light is? He wants to make sure he's got that good lighting for the shot. He wants to make sure the camera's got a good view of his beautiful toned muscles. Yeah, he doesn't have any toned muscles. And they've been blurred anyways, so...
Meeting his fantasy girl, I walk in.
You thought it was a good idea to come visit a 13-year-old girl for what reason?
Just to hang out. Just a lonely guy, you know? I don't mean anybody any harm.
Have you ever done this before?
No.
You'll hear much more from Dark Hero later. So what kind of man seduces a minor and then shows up in person? Former FBI profiler Lanning says it's a man who can't control himself.
Once these fantasies become fueled by the discussions with the child, then in a sense the hook is in. This individual then is committed to this and then is drawn to trying to turn these fantasies that they've spent so much time into a reality.
Our little house in the suburbs has become the
What he said just
destination
meant
for a
that was
parade of
completely
potential
meaningless.
predators. In the first 8 hours of our investigation, 8 men show up, one after the other, from early afternoon into the evening, none of them realizing their every move is being recorded. Each man made a date on the internet and believes a minor is home alone and open to the idea of sex. Remember this man, screen name Ed in NYC? He's 34-year-old Eddie, and when he shows up at the house, he tries something none of the others did. Before he'll come into the kitchen, he comes up with a scheme to insulate himself from possible criminal charges, and he
Has he
tries to
covered
get
his
the girl to
fingerprints
play
with
along.
the sweater?
listen, just say something to me.
What do you want me to say?
Nope, clearly not. He's just touched that with both hands. He's trying to get her to say she's 19 now. What the heck?
No. Not as far as I know.
Not as far as I know.
19 years old, right?
She just told you were 14. She's 14.
Rachel, can you read between the lines?
When I walk in, Eddie admits he was trying not to incriminate himself.
My intentions are not anything, so I just want to protect myself, that's all.
But she told you on the internet she was...
My intentions are not anything. I just want to protect myself. She just said, no, I'm not 19. I'm 14. Then you said, read between the lines. You were clearly trying to get her to lie, so shut the fuck up.
She was 14.
19, sure, after that.
Kill yourself. Not I can't tell you to do that, but he's a dick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's right.
On the internet?
Yes.
You want to stick with that story?
That's what I
Because
thought
he's
you
arrogant.
You want to see the transcript?
I'm sure you have it.
The fact that Eddie is so cunning doesn't surprise law enforcement experts.
Not only are they not stupid, but they're probably above average intelligent. They can be a wide variety of individuals, but a lot of them are well-educated individuals.
That's why I'm a stupid hat. I'm not a pedo. I'm too stupid. Like, what do you mean? That they're above average IQ. Then why the fuck are they doing this shit? They should fucking know better. If they're above average IQ, then surely they should have a worse punishment, because they know better. I don't know. It seems stupid to me.
We'll get back to Eddie later. There are more men on the way.
You should lose IQ points for doing this.
The second day of our investigation turns out to be just as busy as the first. 8 hours, 8 men. Some come looking not for girls, but for boys. This is 35-year-old Craig, screen name 34 going on 17. He's here to meet a 14-year-old boy.
Am I going to jail?
You're not going to jail.
I know, it was, as you can tell, it wasn't something I really, I was just going to hang out. I really wasn't going to do anything, to be honest with you. We talked, I know I said things on there, but I've never done anything like that, and I was just bored.
He sure didn't seem bored earlier online when he tried to coax a teenager into the shower.
No, shower with me. I stink, I gotta shower, me too, so let's shower together.
You know what I said,
Help me understand, though. I mean, if you're the parent of a kid...
It's completely wrong, I know it is. Even just to even talk like that. I know, believe me, I know that this is stupid.
So many men start showing up for the dates they made online, a kind of traffic jam develops. This guy heads to the back door, looks inside, sees another man is already there, and decides to make a run for it. But 20-year-old Esteban, known online...
I dodged a fucking bullet and a half. Just ran the fuck out of there. I mean... He did say to the other guy, oh no, you're not being arrested. Are they being arrested? If not, that's fucked up of him to lie about that. But I can understand why he would. I'll just try and dodge the question.
As Skatey Pie walks right into the kitchen and waits, although not for long. I asked him about his online chat with who he thought was a young girl.
Why don't you tell me exactly what you talked about?
About smoking, about sex.
About sex?
Yeah.
We cut short our interview because while we were talking to Esteban, yet another man is at our door. We asked Esteban to wait in the basement.
Come with me for a second.
In 2.5 days...
Oh my god. I love how he's just become a little helper in their plan as well. He's accidentally just ratted out someone else. He's helping them out. Oh. All he had to do was just stay there, and they wouldn't have been able to get to the next guy. But he complied. Oh. That guy's gonna be so pissed at him. Like, why the did you listen to them?
18 men walked down this driveway thinking they were going to meet a 12, 13, or 14-year-old home alone. All of them chatted online, often talking graphically about sex, spoke on the phone with a decoy, sent a photo, and made a date to meet at the house. But almost all the men said they weren't really here to have sex, and most shared yet another explanation.
I've never done anything like that.
How many times have you done this?
Never before in my whole life. Do you do this often?
No.
How often do you do this sort of thing?
No, not very often at all.
Have you ever done this before?
No.
Do you do this often?
Never. I've never done this, and never will I do it again. I don't know what even came over me to come do this.
But perhaps the most creative excuses came from 23-year-old Mike, known online as MUXACB 2003.
Guys, I just wanted to say, I've never done this. I have never done this. You know, no, No, I rarely ever, no, I never have done this. I've never done this. They're not very convincing, are they?
He traveled from another state to meet a 14-year-old. At first, Mike says he's at the wrong address.
This isn't 554?
Yeah, no, this is not 554.
Then he says someone
554, 54, Peter Lane
was impersonating him online.
I have no idea what this is.
Either way, he says it's all up.
How the fuck do you arrive at the next door, the house next door, and then say, oh, someone's impersonating me, clearly, online? Yeah, because someone online was impersonating you and managed to say they were going to meet up at the next door house. That's not happening. Shut your bitch ass up.
Big mix-up.
Explain to me exactly how you ended up here. I mean, you just walked up the sidewalk and walked into this house because what? You thought it looked like a nice house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you understand why that story doesn't make sense?
After a few minutes, Mike decides to come clean.
Because I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking?
No.
So all that stuff you told me earlier is a lie? You want to tell me the truth?
See, that's bad on so many levels. He's just proven that he is happy to lie. So why would they trust anything he ever says? And he's also just admitted to the crime. So not only, you know, anything that he says can now be discounted pretty much if they want to, but also he's admitted to the crime at the same time. So he's just completely fucked, basically, is what's happened there. Because he's stupid. I'm not on their side, but it's just so painful to see people talk to the police. I mean, he's not even the police. You have even less of a reason to talk to him. Especially in America. The police say they are on your side. They are not. The police are there to put someone in prison. They want to solve the crime and get the criminal arrested. They don't know who the criminal is, but they want it to be you, because then they can solve the case. Then they can arrest you. Okay, if you're in an interrogation room, I'm pretty sure in America, in interrogations they can lie to you, do whatever the fuck they want. Okay? In the UK I don't think they can, but in the US I'm pretty sure they're allowed to. Like, don't say anything. Everything you say will be used against you. It's true. They're not going to use anything to protect you. They're going to use stuff against you. They want to put you in prison. Because they want you to be the criminal. They want to solve the case. So for them, you being the criminal solves the case. They want you to be the criminal. They want the proof that you are the criminal. So they're looking for that. They're not looking to get you off. They're not looking to help you. They're looking to put you in prison. Never give the police any information you don't need to. It does not help you. Ever.
What happened?
He admits he came here hoping for sex with a 14-year-old.
Did you bring condoms today?
I never do this. I didn't do this. I'm at the wrong house. Oh yeah, okay, I was lying. Also, I brought condom.
You did? Yeah. So what does that say about your intent? It was...
He doesn't have to answer any of these questions. He's not even police. Like, he has even less reason to answer. Ugh. And then he admits not only to the crime and lying, but also having evidence on his person or in the car, which they can use to prove it.
Wrong, it was stupid, I was immature.
Remember, so far, these men don't realize they're being videotaped, much less that they'll turn up on Dateline.
I am a correspondent for Dateline NBC.
But they're about to find out.
That is such a... I am a correspondent for Dateline NBC. Becomes t-shirt.
It was wrong, it was stupid, I was immature.
Remember, so far, these men don't realize they're being videotaped, much less that they'll turn up on Dateline.
I am a correspondent
Watch this
for
guy.
Dateline NBC.
But they're about to find out.
It just becomes a fucking t-shirt. It gives the exact same vibes as what's that My Strange Addiction, where she's addicted to being furniture. She has this strange addiction, which is that she likes pretending to be furniture, so she'll pretend to be a sofa. Like, I think her origin story was one time her aunt mistook her for a chaise longue on a sofa and sat on her, and it felt good. And ever since then, she's been addicted to pretending to be furniture. And then there's just this random moment during the interview, and it just goes, overcome with emotion, she evolves into an end table, and she's just crouching on the floor. It just cuts to her crouching on the floor, pretending to be a table. That's the same vibe this guy's giving.
Dateline.
I am a correspondent for Dateline NBC. But
they're about to
Overcome
find out.
with emotion, he evolves into a sweater. Oh my god, he looks so stupid.
You can't put me on TV.
Like, what do they think they're protecting at that point? They've seen your face. Let's cover my face. Like, they've recorded your face, clearly. Why are you covering it now? If anything, you're now exposing your chest. If there's any tattoos or birthmarks, you're now even more recognizable. I mean, it's not likely like it's gonna come to that, but if it does, you've just made it worse. Like, I wouldn't.
Returning to our story, you've seen how 18 men, after trolling through chat rooms looking for young teenagers, showed up for what they thought was going to be a date with a minor. They're about to find out their date is with Dateline. Here again, Chris Hansen.
Just come in and sit at the counter.
In 2.5 days, most of these men likely broke state and federal laws by coming to this house to sexually violate a 12, 13, or 14-year-old.
Nothing much, yeah.
Some talked probably because they thought I was with law enforcement, although I never pretended to be a cop.
Well, you want to tell me why you're
Jazz
really
hands.
I really wanted to just take him to the movies.
But none had any idea
really
our
just
hidden
wanted to take her
cameras
to the
were going to
movies.
expose them before a national audience. When we told them, most headed for the door, like...
Look, even if there's like a seed of doubt in your mind, thinking, well, what if, you know, he was just, you know, he realized that she was gonna do this with someone, and he thought, okay, I'll get there and I'll protect her and I'll tell her this isn't safe, and so I'll just take her to the movies and I'll, you know, be nice to her, and then I'll explain to her this isn't safe. Like, that's not realistic. That's not gonna happen, because if it was the case, he wouldn't be sending her the messages. He would be trying to convince her, no, that you shouldn't be doing this. He'd be trying to convince her first. And then if he can't convince her, maybe he'd consider doing this. But it's a pretty extreme thing to do anyways. Like, it's not going to happen, realistically. And let's say it miraculously did happen, he would have tried to convince them not to do it in the first place. And then they wouldn't have pursued trying to get this guy to come. Like, it's just so dumb.
Like Steve, the married man with children.
I'm Chris Hansen of Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on grown-ups.
Okay.
On the internet.
Go ahead. I am leaving.
All right,
because,
go ahead.
You know, and you don't have my permission to put me on tape either.
That's smart. You don't have my permission to put me on TV. Unfortunately, they clearly don't give a fuck. But, smart. It's good that he's pointed that out.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story.
I'd like to hear why they're allowed to show this on TV. I mean, I'm sure there is a reason they're allowed to, but I'm curious.
You can't put me on TV.
But some wanted a chance to try to explain themselves. Remember 34-year-old Eddie? He was...
Let me condemn myself more, please. Senpai, I want to get myself in more trouble. Let me tell you all these lies about what I was doing and explain my actions and how I was hurt as a child and how that makes it okay for me to go and be a fucking pedo. No. You're stupid. You're going to prison. You're more likely to go to prison, in fact, if you try and explain your actions.
He's the one who thought he'd found a way to cover himself legally.
As far as I know, you're 19 years old, right?
When I confront him, he's ready with a story. He says he's a TV producer doing research.
Where are you a television producer?
I work independently right now.
Yeah.
That's not a TV producer doing research if you're working independently. Is it? A TV producer, what do you... Producer suggests... No, I guess it suggests that you're doing it yourself. Then researching it. I don't know, that seems kind of like a very weird niche thing to go with. I mean, if it's true, fair enough, but that's very niche if it's a cover-up.
You know, it's ironic because I work in television too, with Dateline NBC.
At first, this television producer appears a bit camera shy, but then he decides to open up.
I haven't done anything wrong at all. If you go into the transcripts, time and time again, everything that was said.
Picture this.
Everything.
Picture this. You lying back, eyes straddle your chest. It sounds like you were looking to have a sexual experience with this girl, Rachel, who we were talking about on the internet. I mean, I don't know what other conclusion you can draw.
You can search me for a condom. I don't have one on me. I wouldn't have sex without one.
Eddie thinks he's pretty smooth, and he's not quite finished. He's got yet another excuse why he's not really here for sex.
Besides, she's supposedly a virgin, so she's never had sex anyway, so I certainly wouldn't want to be the first.
Kind of sound.
This is so weird. He's giving such bad excuses. This guy needs more than a pat down. You need to give him the full prison touch. Okay, because I think he's hiding fucking something up his ass. I genuinely, judging by the look on his face, he was so prepared for all of this. And yet he's doing so badly. It's embarrassing. He was prepared for all of this and he's doing such a bad job at it anyways. I bet you he's got a fucking condom shoved up his ass. I fucking bet you. Except he's taken it out of the packet already and now it's covered in shit. And he's gonna realize that when he gets a pat down and someone pulls it out of his fucking ass. And he's gonna realize, oh shit, maybe I wasn't as smooth as I thought I was. Maybe this wasn't the greatest of plans. Oh shit, I'm going to prison.
Sounds like you might have been excited about the fact that she was a virgin in here.
No, I don't think so. You don't see that in there. And in fact, all you see is just little test scenarios.
For the record, it appears Eddie has worked as a TV producer.
I'm very interested in your story. I think it's a great thing that you're doing. I think it's something that you should certainly do more and more, and bad people.
No. The way he's trying to encourage him to do it as well. Oh. Oh, that's so condescending.
Left and right.
Thanks for the pat on the back, Eddie. Meanwhile, when it comes to excuses, law enforcement experts say they've heard them all.
It's not uncommon for these individuals, when caught dead to right, to try to minimize and downplay and to rationalize and justify and offer these excuses.
But when 30-year-old Dark Hero learns he was going to be part of our report, he tries a different approach. Remember, we've disguised him because of his history of mental illness and possible suicidal tendencies.
I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean anybody any harm.
Then he reveals something that, after investigation, appears to be true.
I'm a schizophrenic man. I'm supposed to see my doctor today.
All right, perhaps you should go see him.
I'm just getting my life in order. You're gonna ruin my life.
You're the
I'm just getting my life in order. You're gonna ruin my life. No. Yeah, like Chris was just about to say, he's the one doing that. But that does hurt, because that feels like he was the only one potentially being honest. It was like, I feel ashamed, and I wasn't trying to hurt anybody. Like, I feel like that genuinely could be what his case was. He could be lying, but that could be his case. And that's not good enough. You know, it's sad, but it's not a good enough excuse. It doesn't make up for what he's done. It doesn't excuse it. Kronk.
The one who made the decision to come here.
But I didn't know I was going to wind up on television.
What would you have done with a 13-year-old girl?
I probably just would have said hello and how you doing, and we may...
Now he's lying. Okay, never mind. I shouldn't have defended him. He didn't deserve... Nope. Nope, he didn't deserve shit. I was like, oh, no, you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He may have been telling the truth at first, because he was saying how he feels ashamed and shit. And I can kind of understand that. And now he's going, oh, we were just gonna, you know, hang out and, you know, we were just gonna talk to her. Yeah, fuck you, you fucking liar.
Maybe we would have taken a ride in the car, and that's it.
You were gonna take her for a ride in the car?
Maybe. I just got out of a mental institution a few months ago.
That's not encouraging. That doesn't help your case, buddy.
I'm just a guy looking for a girlfriend, that's it. You're gonna take a guy who's looking for a girlfriend and put him on TV and say...
There you go. Okay, he's pretty much just admitted to it. He just said, I'm just a guy looking for a girlfriend. So he has been lying this whole time. He's trying to use his mental illness as a cover-up. Maybe he does feel ashamed. I don't know. He doesn't look it. Although his face is blurred. But he doesn't seem to be that ashamed. Seems to just be angry more than anything. He probably just thought, hey, I've got this issue. I can use this as a cover-up. And then he's fucked it up by using the word girlfriend and clearly indicating that he was interested in something that is not appropriate with a child. So he didn't deserve that benefit of the doubt I gave him, and fuck him.
Oh, here's a pedophile.
Not literally. No one touched that guy.
That's what you're gonna do, right? Because I came to meet a 13-year-old, even though I didn't do anything. I think that's ridiculous. I think your story is a piece of shit.
It turns out Dark Hero has a long history of mental illness, and he has a history with law enforcement. In fact, his former girlfriend was granted an order of protection against him, an order which he violated. He later pleaded guilty to second-degree harassment and criminal contempt. Yet here he is, able to chat online, make a date, and show up for a possible sexual encounter with a 13-year-old. While virtually every man who made a date to commit statutory rape showed up at our house, there was another who never made it in the door, although he came awfully close. He's a man in a position of trust, 24-year-old Ryan Hogan, screen name Ryan4686, a New York City firefighter.
Want to call me, he wants to talk.
After spending hours in...
This guy's meant to be saving lives, and he's out here destroying lives. That's fucked. Fucking firefighter doing this shit. Also, that's the same piece of cake as earlier. This is the same clip. That was like all the way back here or something, wasn't it? Like, this is the same clip. This is the same clip as where he went, save ass. Like...
Firefighter.
Want to call me, he wants to talk.
After spending hours engaged in an...
They recorded all of this at once. Oh, or is that he was reading that guy and then he did the save as bit? I don't know.
Scene chat, sometimes from the firehouse, he makes a plan to come over to have sex with our 14-year-old. But as he drives by the house, he phones. He's having second thoughts and cancels, telling our...
That's a good thing. In a sense. It's a bad thing that he was even close. But the fact that he cancelled it, credit where credit's due. He had a second thought. He rethought what he was doing. Second judgment. He decided, no, this isn't alright. I hope that's the logic behind it and not something just like, oh no, I just can't be asked today. I hope it was the logic of, no, this isn't right.
Our decoy, she's too young.
He went back to saying there was immoral and illegal and everything else.
But the real reason...
Oh, fuck's sake, but the real I was just about to say, nice work, buddy. You're a... You shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. But at least, you know, you didn't go and act on it, and you had second thoughts about it, and you went, no, actually this is wrong, and you tried to make some kind of adjustment, some sort of improvement. It's in the space of a few hours probably, so, you know, but still, that's something. But no, clearly that's not the case, because Chris Hansen has just said, but the real reason was...
May have been something else entirely. He goes home, gets back online, and says he saw this. A police car coincidentally parked next door to our house. But...
Fuck me. He was just saving his own fucking ass. Yeah, makes sense. And he was not only saving his own ass, he was also warning all the others. So actually, not only was he not doing something that's an improvement, he was protecting himself, but he was also making the situation a lot worse by helping others who were being fucked up, pedophile cunts. Like, not good. Not. I'm seeing a pattern here. Every time I say, wow, that's, you know, we've got to actually consider this, you know, there seems to be something genuine here, or, you know, oh wow, they've actually, you know, done something that's at least kind of decent, you know, got credit where credit's due compared to these other people, you know, they can't be bundled in with all these others. Every time I say something like that, boom, it gets smacked back in my face, and it's like, nope, actually they're worse. Fuck me.
But even that doesn't stop him. He gets comfortable again, turns on his webcam, exposes himself, and masturbates, all while wearing his New York City firefighter sweatshirt.
Yeah, it's obscene. It's obscene.
And then, unbelievably, he says he's going to come by the house again. He never makes it, so we go looking for him.
That's so fucked up. I mean, he didn't show up, so that's a relief, but it doesn't make any difference at this point. He's made plans multiple times, and he genuinely did go, so, you know, he doesn't get any passes from me anymore. He missed his chance. He missed his chance at redemption by, you know, not actually turning around, and instead just protecting his own ass and then helping others. For that, you know, I'd say that's irredeemable, you know. You can't go, oh no, maybe he wasn't bad. No, he clearly is a bad fucking cunt. Doesn't give a shit. Don't know why the fuck he wouldn't show up. No, he probably didn't show up this time because he was so spooked by the police car the previous day. Yeah.
Hey Ryan, Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story about adults in chat rooms on the internet.
At first, firefighter Ryan says he thought the girl was 19. Then he decides to come clean.
The reality is this: you had a conversation with somebody who said they were 14 years old. It was a very explicit sexual conversation. You got in your car and you drove by the house where she said she was home alone with no parents.
Right.
That's all true, right?
Yes. But did I stop? No. Did I make the right, in the end, make the right decision as what not to do? Yes, I did.
No, you didn't, because you helped others, and you were clearly just covering your own ass. I was trying to argue that point for you, and then you shoved it fucking back in my face. Fuck you.
You said that you had every intent of showing up at this house, except that you saw a marked police car parked next door.
I honestly, I had driven, before I saw the marked police car, I made the decision not to stop. I really did.
But what about his...
And then you posted about the police car, warning the others. And then you went back on the website, started doing shit, and then you planned to meet her again. Yeah, it's all fucking bullshit. Look, you lie once, you lose your privileges to be trusted. Like, I'm all for second chances, but not when it's a fucking legal case. If you're lying about one thing, why the fuck should anyone trust anything else that comes out of your mouth? There's no reason to. You can lie once, you can lie twice. Nothing's gonna stop you at that point. Like, no.
His lewd performance on the webcam in front of someone he thought was 14.
And then afterwards, you turned on the webcam and transmitted this picture.
That was not supposed to be transmitted.
Of yourself exposing yourself.
That was not transmitted. For the record, I was talking to another person at the time. I did not intend for her to see that.
You didn't intend for her to see that?
No, sir.
You didn't click the button, go into the software, click the button, see it pop up on your screen, and then do that, facing the camera. Are you fucking kidding me?
I did not. Somebody else was viewing that at the time.
But if you look at the firefighter's chat log, he asks our decoy first if she...
And you asked if This is why you don't lie to people. You don't lie to the police and to investigators and whatever, because they have all of the evidence. They can catch you out on lies. You're better off just not telling them anything. That way you don't confirm anything, and you don't confirm that you are lying either.
He sees the picture, and then if she liked it.
Is this appropriate behavior for a New York City firefighter?
No, sir, it is not.
Or any adult to have this kind of a conversation with somebody who says they're a 14-year-old girl home alone?
No, sir, it is not.
Then what are you doing, Ryan?
I made a mistake at the time. I made the judgment call to correct that mistake.
Is there anything else you want to say about this?
Yeah, I think people got to use their heads. People should know better. I made a mistake.
So what happens now to all these men who were so clearly caught in the act? To start, all of them were exposed by Perverted Justice, the online watchdog group. All the men's photos, phone numbers, and chat logs were posted on its website. The firefighter was arrested and charged with using the internet to attempt to solicit a minor for sex and attempting to transmit obscene matter to a person under the age of 16. Hogan has pled not guilty. This man, who told us he was schizophrenic, was admitted to a psychiatric hospital. So how would you react if 18 strangers showed up in your neighborhood in just 2 days? Probably a lot like these parents.
So Rachel, you're 19 years old, right?
Almost too angry for words.
19 years old?
I want you to say yes, I'm 19 years old.
So interesting. I'm glad that guy got arrested, the firefighter, because clearly, absolute fucking douchebag. You know, you've got plenty of evidence there, and you've got evidence that he's happy to lie about shit as well. Easy to fucking arrest that guy. The guy with schizophrenia? I'm not an expert on schizophrenia, I won't lie. Does it make it difficult to control yourself? Let's search up schizophrenia symptoms. Change of behavior, that's not. Hallucinations. Delusions. Okay. Confused thinking and speech. Okay. So yeah, as far as I know, schizophrenia and psychosis don't. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, they don't cover this. They don't cover like loss of control. You know, the best excuse he could probably come up with is that he didn't think it was real, or he thought he was in a dream. Or maybe he was in like some kind of trance-like state. But I wouldn't say that's good enough to get him out of charges. Either they didn't pursue anything with him legally, or he must have had a very good fucking lawyer to just go to a psych ward and not go to fucking prison or community service or anything for that. That's, yeah, he either must have had a very good fucking lawyer, or they didn't do anything. They just said, no, we're just not going to do anything. Because I'm pretty sure he could have been easily arrested. And, yeah. I don't think schizophrenia would cover that issue. Would cover him in that sense. I don't know, maybe it would. But I don't know enough about schizophrenia, honestly. But from what I do know, I haven't heard of anything that could potentially cause that. Like, he should have been in control there, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong.
We assembled a group of parents who live just a matter of miles from our hidden...
There we go. I don't know why it was so great. It was, I highlighted it, I unhighlighted it, but it stayed like grayed out instead of blue for some reason.
They all told me they were aware that computer predators are out there, but none was prepared to see what happened in their own backyard.
Personally, I'm totally shocked that many people responded, which just shows me that it's not something rare. It's not the 1 in a million guy out there. They're all over.
That argument, I do agree with. That fact that it shows that there's so many. Because while, you know, they were clearly looking for people, they were trying to get them all to one house, you've also got to bear in mind, they're in one location. So there's only so many people that can actually reach them. Anyways. It's not like they're searching for everyone in existence. They're searching for everyone who's in a certain radius of one place. So that's quite a lot of people they've gotten in such a short amount of time. That is quite worrying.
They're all over, and yet there is nothing to make them stand out in a crowd. Everyday members of the community.
What frightens me more is that these guys are guys you might know in your life.
Right.
That might be your neighbors, or you might socialize with these.
I love how she's pointing at this guy. These are people you might socialize with every day in your life, and this guy just looks so like, oh shit. Look at his face, he's like, she's pointing at me. He's like, oh shit. Oh fuck, oh shit. He's he's like leaning away like, don't you point that hand at me.
Neighbors, or you might socialize with these men and not know it.
Do you think that anything like this could happen to any of your children?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I do.
If they're out there.
I do, because they're very inventive.
I don't like how they're exclusively using the word men. It doesn't have to be men at all. I'm sure it is mostly men though. But they should still, you know, you can't just go, oh, it's mostly men, so I'll just ignore all women who say creepy things online. You know, they say something creepy, they're probably just being goofy, you know? You've also got to be aware of the women and the non-binaries. And, you know, you can't just go, oh, it's just a men thing. It's an everyone thing. Anyone can do this. Not anyone would do this, but anyone could do this. Anyone who's over the age of 18, obviously. But yeah, you've just gotta watch out for everyone. You can't just go, oh, I'll watch out for men. If it's a woman, it's fine. Like, that's stupid, obviously. But yeah, they're making good points. You gotta be careful. You know, it is worrying how many people there are that are like this, and you know, how quickly and easily you can get them to come out and try to meet. Like, it's so easy for them to like actually go there and act on it, or try to act on it. Like, that's worrying, that they have that little care, that little disregard, or they're that willing to do it, or whatever it is that's driving them to go there. There's so little holding them back from doing it, and that's scary.
So inventive that kids might not even sense there's danger.
It's scary because I think sometimes kids think that, you know, it's all a game and they're just, you know, playing along, and then they don't realize how all of a sudden it becomes somebody at your back door.
I think it's very easy for children to give out information unwittingly.
But if seeing what these men did wasn't frightening enough for these parents, hearing what these middle school kids tell me they experience online may be more shocking.
Has anyone here had a stranger say anything you felt uncomfortable about, that was inappropriate? Has anyone ever tried to lure you into going?
That question of inappropriate is very unspecific. Obviously, when speaking with kids, you do have to be sensitive, so I can understand why he was very vague. But it also makes the question kinda sketchy.
Going to an inappropriate website.
Yeah, they give you the link and say, like, come here to view my naked pictures.
And
there you go. She clearly knew what he was talking about, but many of these other kids may not have known. Maybe they did. Maybe they were briefed beforehand, but we don't know that.
Like most kids, they don't always tell their parents.
How many of you, after having been approached or having a scary experience in a chat room, have gone to their parents right away to tell them what happened? Nobody? Why not?
Because we're scared of what they'll say. Like, if we'll get in trouble or yell at me or ground me from not going online ever again.
There is a disconnect between...
That's so valid. That's so valid. Because the parents' opinion is just, don't go online and do dangerous things. Don't share your information. Don't do this, don't do that. And it's like, okay, sure, you know, I just won't be stupid. And, you know, but then a kid trusts someone. You know, they build up trust in someone, and then they do these things because they think, oh no, I can trust them. You know, they trust their parents, and so they're like, yeah, I'll follow this rule. But then they trust whoever they've met, and they're like, oh, I can, you know, I guess I'll just this once because I can trust you. You know, surely the rule only applies to those people who I don't trust. But it should just apply to everyone. But being a kid, you're like, maybe this person's trustworthy, maybe, you know. And then their parents are just going to look at it as a case of, you didn't listen to me. You know, they're not going to be like, oh, you've been talking to this person for 3 months now. Okay, I can kind of understand why, you know, you might trust them. They've been kind of nice to you for like 3 months. They've helped you with like your homework and stuff. Or whatever, you know, they could do so many things to try and convince them that they're like a nice person and like groom them. And then the parents would just be like, no, you didn't listen to me. How could you do this? And they would be in so much fucking trouble. Why would they tell their parents? I mean, obviously, because their parents could help. But could their parents help? Not really. Their parents are less... Their parents are completely inept when it comes to technology. They know less than the kids do. The kids will know how to block them. The parents won't. The parents won't know what to do. They won't know how to report it. They might call the police, and the police will be like, 999, what's your emergency? They'll be like, someone has been contacting my daughter on the internet. And they'll be like, okay, I guess you can send us an email with the information. Like, the police aren't going to do anything for the most part. They're just not. Unfortunately. Unless, like, they get some sort of hard evidence that links a physical person to the crime, they're not likely to do anything. If all they have is just a screen name I don't think they're likely to do anything. I might be wrong, but I don't think they're going to do anything. They're not, because it's going to take a lot longer than the police have to go looking into who this person might be. Maybe they'll write it down as like a note and look into it if they run out of stuff to do, but they're not likely to go, oh shit, we need to catch this guy, because nothing actually happened. They have no proof that it was ever going to happen, and they don't have a physical person to tie it to, so they don't really have much to go off at all. Imagine if there was a legit person who's named Bethpage after the city. That's the city! You say that as a joke, Amity? I thought that was someone's name. I genuinely thought. I thought that was like the name of the person who uploaded it, or like one of the people in the interviews, or like, I don't know. I thought that was someone who was in the show or something. I did not realize that was a place. Okay then. There probably is someone called Bethpage. It's probably spelled Page with an I though, P-A-I-G. But there probably is someone called Bethpage. I'm gonna Google that right now. Bethpage. Bethpage on Twitter. Boom. Gamer. Oh, look at that. And they've got trans flags waving. Slay. Slay. Bethpage is slaying. Shout out to Bethpage. We didn't have this one yet, but I'm gonna make sure the next blah 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 blah. I don't know what this thing is, but slay. Okay? Shout out to Bethpage. Is there one without the eye? I doubt it, but let's see. There is! There is one without the eye. Or is that a place? No, it says Beth at Bethpage. It's a person. Damn.
Between parents and children here.
There's a huge disconnect.
Boom. Disconnected. Told you.
Terry Schroeder, founder and CEO of iSafe, a nonprofit foundation that educates children across the country on internet safety, says parents and kids need to work as a team.
I do not encourage.
I wonder what she's highlighting there. Because that's clearly just a made-up shot. I mean, they've got her walk into the room, sit down very carefully, put on her glasses, and then highlight something. I wonder what she's actually highlighting. I wonder if they've got like a box that she's meant to highlight, or a piece of paper with some random words on it, and she's got to highlight them. Or if it's just a case of, just draw a line on this random piece of paper. Maybe she's highlighting the table even. No way of knowing. No way of knowing.
Any parent after hearing this interview to say, I'm getting that computer out of here, because you will severely handicap your child education.
Hold up, there's a bug, I gotta kill it. She was about to make a very good point, I believe. I gotta kill this bug. The daddy long legs, they're scary. Scary. Gotta kill this thing. I'm not as bad as one of these people, okay? Okay, I may be murdering a bug. I don't consider that anywhere near as bad. It's not even on the same fucking... It's not a crime. I hope. If it is a crime, that's nuts. Anyway, I'm gonna get a tissue because I'm just rambling at this point. Okay. I got it. I'm pretty sure there's like a medal in Halo that's like overkill. Anyways, I squished it, ripped its legs off, and then flushed it down the toilet. So overkill.
Occasionally,
Wait, let's go back,
socially.
because I'm pretty sure she was
Here.
trying to make
Says
very
parents and
quick.
kids need to work as a team.
I do not encourage any parent after hearing this interview to say, I'm getting that computer out of here, because you will severely handicap your child educationally, socially.
Instead,
It's so true. I wasn't allowed on the internet as a kid, and it meant that I had no clue what people were talking about half the time. You know, I didn't understand how the fuck so many things worked. You know, I was just kind of thrown in the deep end. Like, I just wasn't allowed to use it except for, like, homework. And if I was caught literally just on Google when I wasn't doing homework, I would get in trouble for it. Like, I'm not talking like social media, just genuinely, I was not allowed on Google if I wasn't doing homework. I couldn't Google things that were important. Like, I wasn't allowed to do shit. It does make you struggle socially. It very much does. Because you have no clue what anyone's talking about half the time. You know, people are learning new things, people are watching content, people are sharing things online, they're playing games, they're doing all these things, and you have absolutely no fucking clue what's going on. And you can't interact with them when they're all talking about this same stuff, because they're all doing the same stuff. And you're left out. And then you start to feel isolated as fuck. But yeah. And then educationally, you know, you can't know how to be safe around something without knowing what the danger is. You know? Like, I wasn't allowed on Google, right? And so, when I had my iPod Touch, you know, I went on Google. Wasn't technically allowed to, but I went on Google. I went on the browser. It was a terrible browser called Safeguard. It was incredibly slow, and I could barely use it. It filtered so many websites. It pretty much didn't function, to be honest. I think one of the main places I ended up going on was Cerebi.net, so I could find Pokemon tutorials and information about the different Pokemon while I was playing on my DS. You know, I came across a website and it had one of those pop-ups, like one of those really intrusive pop-ups where it has all the different colors, flashing screen, and then it's like, you're our 1000th customer, click to get a free iPhone. And I knew that it was probably fake, but you know, I hadn't seen this before. I wasn't sure. I didn't know what the internet was like. And so, fortunately I didn't click it, but I was very tempted to. Fortunately, I went and spoke to my parents, and they just kind of got annoyed at me. And kind of angry at me, because, you know, it was clearly fake. And I was like, but what if it's real? You know? I was curious, what if it's real? I could be missing out on an iPhone. You know? It's that easy. It's that easy to get a kid interested in something. And if the kid doesn't have knowledge or experience with the thing, how are they gonna protect themselves? And then if they go to you and you're gonna belittle them or get angry at them for it, why would they come to you later? Why? They're not going to. That's why this disconnect they're talking about is such a big issue. Like, this is a very good episode. This is the first episode, and it's very fucking good, I'm not gonna lie.
Instead, Schroeder says parents need to educate themselves about online dangers and create open communication where a child feels safe talking about inappropriate situations.
She was highlighting a real page. Also, I want to point out, you know, my parents, it's not like they don't know anything about the internet. They're not uneducated, you know. My dad works at a university, my mum works in a school. My mum does all the e-safety stuff for her school. She's head of IT, even though she sucks at computers. You know, my dad is a researcher, you know, he pretty much just works on the computer most of the time, and he does lots of stuff on the computer. He knows how to do quite a bit, not as much as me or my older brother, because we are computer science students, but anyways, you know, it's not just about being educated, because being educated yourself as the parent, that's great, but you've got to put that education into practice somehow. You can't just tell the kid, hey, don't do this, don't do that. You've got to actually go make efforts to protect them. One great way of doing that, set up firewalls. Set up a firewall. Easy as that. Can they get around it? Yep, easily. They just use a VPN. But you know what? If your kid's old enough to use a VPN, and they're knowledgeable enough to know how to use a VPN, they're probably knowledgeable enough to know how to stay decently safe on the internet. They probably have enough experience with the internet if they know how to use a VPN. But, you know, put up a firewall, block sites like Omegle, block sites that are dangerous, block phishing sites, which are like sites where they'll put, like Google, but they'll put an extra O in it or something. So it's like it's designed to look like the website, it's designed to look like it's the same website if you look at the link, but it's technically got a slightly different character. Maybe instead of an L, it will have a capital I, like websites that are made to catch you out. And then you'll think, oh, this is Google, you click a button, and suddenly it's downloaded a virus or whatever. Like, it's really easy to block all these things. Ridiculously easy. It's not just about the education, but that is the first step. Once the education's done, they need to know how to actually put it into practice. Because you can't just say, educate your children. That's not enough, unfortunately. It's just not.
Situations online.
Take the parenting skills that you use in real life and apply them in cyberspace. It's very simple. If something is going on, talk to your child about it. If your child comes to you, listen to them.
Yes.
In fact, Schroeder confirms what these kids told us. Most children are afraid to tell their parents about scary encounters online.
If they go tell their parents may not believe them, and then now they're going to get in trouble. And 9 times out of 10, what we tell the kids and what we tell the parents, it's usually not the kid's fault. They're innocent in this. They're
Kid is a victim of a crime.
Correct.
Basically. A sex crime committed by predators.
That's a very good point that they've just made there. Essentially, that's victim blaming. You know, victim blaming is a whole thing, right? You don't want to be a victim blamer, do you? But if you're just gonna dismiss what the kid says or get angry at them for telling you something, you're essentially victim blaming. You know, you've got to be educated on these matters as a parent, and also be open to the discussion, be willing to hear them out, be understanding, and, you know, help them. Help the child. Don't just go, no, you've done something stupid here. Let me fix it. Help them to understand what's wrong. Help them to understand what to do to avoid the situation. Then they can protect themselves. It's not just about you protecting them, it's about them protecting themselves too. But you need to protect them too. You can't just go, hey, I've taught them everything. They know that they shouldn't talk to strangers online. That's not good enough. Because someone else could say something different very easily.
You know exactly which of the kids' buttons to push.
It may be attention and affection. For another child, it may be gifts. For a lot of teenagers, it's romance. Just somebody who will give you this romance, pay attention to you, tell you how pretty you are, how nice you are, or whatever it is.
There's one guy right there coming right to the door.
These kids thought they were pretty hip to dangerous strangers online, But they weren't such know-it-alls. Once, with their parents' permission, I showed them the results of our investigation.
So this is just a game, dude? Yes, it's a just game.
That was all like real? That all
it's
actually
totally real.
happened?
I don't like it.
Creepy. Pathetic.
Freaky.
Disgusting. Scary. Weird. Reality. Wrong.
Show your kids that you do care enough and that they will not be penalized if something happens. And also, be willing to learn from your kids. You may learn a lot from them as it pertains to technology.
Based upon the fact that we all have computers in our homes, do we then have the responsibility of almost being a spy or a cop to see what the kids are doing on the computer?
I've always done that.
But if parents think they can completely protect their kids by installing standard software or setting ground rules, think again.
We found ways to bend those rules and stuff like that.
So you know how to get around that stuff?
Yeah.
Have you ever done it yourself?
Yeah.
Even though your parents have said don't do that?
Rules are made to be broken.
Meet 11-year-old Laomi Wright. She's become so good at getting around the rules, her mother is ready to throw out the computer.
Let's put it this way, she's not using the computer anymore.
You thought you were being a responsible parent.
Right.
And doing just about everything you could to make sure your daughter was safe on the internet.
Right. Plus, she gave me her word. She wouldn't talk to people that she didn't know, so.
In spite of all that,
it giving you that word means pretty much nothing, let's be realistic. It just means, you know, they're gonna get upset if they break it. And, you know, that's a learning curve for the child. That's a good teaching point, you know. The kid breaks a promise, and then you get upset at them, and then they get upset, and they learn, oh shit, I shouldn't break promises. But, you know, that doesn't mean you should trust the kid to protect themselves, because that doesn't happen. And they can't promise that.
your daughter was still talking to a stranger via instant messaging.
Right. It's pretty scary, I can tell you that.
To help solve Michelle's problem, we enlisted the help of Detective Mike Sullivan, author of Safety Monitor, How to Protect Your Kids Online. The first thing he noticed, Michelle had the computer in the basement, an out-of-the-way place where a child can operate unsupervised.
Put it in a public room, right off the kitchen, dining room. Basically as you're going about your normal house chores, you're making dinner, you can look over and see the screen and check on what your child's doing.
Next, Detective Sullivan suggested setting up layers of defense, starting with internet service providers like MSN, Earthlink, or AOL.
Even if you're not there, just the idea that you could be there is enough to reduce the kids' actions. It will protect them already. Even if you're not actually watching, even if you're not actually in the room, they'll think you could walk into the room. And they'll be safer. That's an easy move you can make. And already they're safer, and you haven't actually done anything realistically.
Which all provide some type of parental control. Michelle has AOL, and although...
And in a sense, that does put their safety into their own hands, because then they are making the decision not to do these things. Even if you're pushing them not to do it, they're still making that decision themselves not to do it. So that is helping them. And they're making the decision too. So that's a massive piece of advice right there. Just put the computer somewhere where it's visible.
Though she had set up the controls, she wasn't using them correctly. AOL has recently updated its protective controls, making it tougher for kids to outsmart.
Everything is going to function through AOL, and then they're going to monitor what she's doing from there.
Next, our expert downloads Watch Right software that will allow Michelle to read all of Laomi's instant messages and chat room conversations.
So you can keep an eye on what she's doing, even if she changes her password on you. This program's still going to read it and let you see what she's been doing online.
If reading all her daughter's online messages seems too intrusive or time-consuming, the detective has another suggestion: filtering software that stops Laomi from sending out personal information, like her home address or phone number. The software would also detect a predator trying to make contact with Laomi, and then automatically send Michelle an email to warn her.
So if your daughter's at home and something goes wrong, the software, Cyber Sentinel, is going to send you a message at work saying, you might want to call home. And it will actually tell you who the user online was, what was the inappropriate statement. So if she said some naughty words, or someone said something of a predatory nature to her, you're actually going to see it in the mail.
And our
I'm actually really surprised by this. I mean, she was saying, you know, she thought she's done so much, she's taken so many steps, and she even gave her word, and she's at the point where she's, you know, thinking about just throwing the computer out. But she hasn't even put a fucking web filtering software. She hasn't put cybersecurity software on, like, she's put one thing on it and set it up wrong. She hasn't put enough effort into protecting her, clearly. It's that whole thing of you need to get the education and then act on it. She hasn't done that enough. Plain and simple.
She said some naughty words, or someone said something of a predatory nature to her, you're actually going to see it in the mail.
And our expert has one more suggestion for Michelle. Software that will record Leomi's every move on the computer without her daughter knowing it.
So the program is like a VCR, showing you, hey, wait a second, this is what my child's doing online.
That's great. Look at that.
This program is actually going to come in and say, wait a second, they tried to sneak a program by you, but you can still check them out.
Our expert says each program is very user-friendly and costs about $40. And it's clear both Michelle and the detective think it's worth it.
There's no silver bullet that's going to take care of everything. What you can get to is a state of peace of mind as a parent, that I've done everything I can do to protect my child while they're on the computer in my house.
I guess all the protective software in the world will not substitute for a good relationship between a parent and child.
No, an active, involved parent is more than any match for any predator that's out there right now.
Now that our expert has installed and set up tough protective measures, Michelle is ready to let Leomi back on the computer.
Have you learned your lesson?
Yes.
That's Dateline for now.
No, she hasn't. No. I mean, she's learned. It doesn't mean she's not going to do it. She's going to try and do it again. She might fail, to be fair, because they've now got all that software on, and the software that was supposed to be on there is now running properly. But she's still probably going to go try and do it.
Join all of us at NBC News next time for another edition of Dateline. I'm Stone Phillips. Good night.
Ever seen our stories out? Well, there we go. That was the first ever episode of To Catch a Predator. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That was a lot more informative than I had expected, actually. I mean, you know, you see all these predator catches, and it's just kind of the story of what's going on. This one's also kind of giving parental advice and telling you, you know, what the issues are that are causing this. And it's 100% true. It's a massive disconnect. And it's a lack of knowledge, and not just a lack of education, but it's a lack of actually doing stuff about protecting your kids. It's one thing to know that your kids are endangered by this stuff, but to actually protect them from it is a different thing. Because just saying, nope, you can't touch that, is just gonna cause other issues. Just saying, no, you're not allowed the internet, you're not allowed a computer, it's just gonna cause other issues. Whereas taking steps like, you know, web filtering, firewalls, antivirus, boom, they're way more protected already. Already, they're so much safer. I'd say the kind of spyware stuff they were showing, where it was like, oh, it will show you everything she ever messages. I wouldn't want to do that. That would show that you're not trusting your kid. That's too far. That's just gonna make your kid feel like they're constantly being watched, like they're untrustworthy, and it's gonna make them feel like absolute shit and just destroy their self-worth. Spyware is really not necessary. Just protect them, and the most kind of spyware-y software, I would say, that's reasonable would be something that just logs what websites they're going to. Just a DNS logger. Just see what websites they're visiting. You know? And then if they go to some suspicious website, you can see. Other than that, you don't really need to be recording or tracking what they're doing. You just need to be blocking dangerous things and making sure that they're aware that there are dangers on the internet. Simple as that. Don't take it away from them. Don't sit down with them every single time they're on the computer. Don't install spyware. You know, just install some antivirus, maybe some firewalls. And, you know, they should be safe. Just tell them, you know, hey, this is the situation. It can be dangerous. Just don't do this, don't do that. Just be safe. Block access to the webcam. Don't plug in a webcam. Don't give them a microphone. Already, they're so much more protected just by not having a webcam and a microphone. Or by having blocked access to them. It's that easy. Have different user accounts on the computer if you need to use it as well. It's really not that hard, but people do make it seem very hard because there is that massive disconnect and that lack of knowledge and lack of education. Anyways, that's To Catch a Predator, Bethpage, Long Island. Yeah. Very educational, very interesting. I think I'm going to end the stream there for today, actually, and hopefully we can edit this, cut it a bit shorter, make it into a nice little video, reaction video. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you've learned something today. I know I have, and I hope you were entertained as well, because it was interesting to watch and educational too. I hope you have a good day, good night, good morning, evening, death, sleep, whatever you're doing. Have a great one, and I will catch you later.